Hey guys, Bo Oliver here. Before we get into today's episode, I want to address a sponsorship that we had on one of our previous videos, our House of the Dragon spoiler discussion part 2. We did a spot with a company called Established Titles, as many of you probably saw if you watched that video. And it has come to our attention that some of the things that they offer with their products are... There's some questions about their legitimacy, about some of the companies that they work with, and like I mentioned, some of the things that they do promise with the opportunity to buy a plot of land and receive the title of Lord or Lady. So we just wanted to let you guys know that it's definitely something that was our mistake. Normally we do a better job of vetting the potential sponsorships on our videos or our podcasts because it's the responsible thing to do. And this was a mistake on our part, not doing the necessary research. And like I said, there's a lot of questions about the legitimacy, so we want to apologize for our mistake. And we want to let you guys know that if you did purchase one of the Established Titles packages, they offer a very generous refund policy, which, you know, even that raises some eyebrows. Once again, if you did buy it and you're sort of satisfied with just the idea of a prop gift, because that's all it really seems to be, then fine. But if you're someone who does want your money back, like I mentioned, they have a generous return policy, so it's something that we won't be advertising for again on these videos, and down the road we will be more responsible about the sponsorships that we put on our videos and our podcasts. No excuses. This one is on us, and our DMs will be open for anyone who may be if you're having trouble with getting a refund, or if you want to correspond back and forth about this on Twitter, on Instagram, at NerdSoup. So reach out to us if there's anything we can do to help you guys out. So once again, apologies for that, and we will be better. We make that promise to be better about the sponsorships and advertisements that we include on our podcasts and videos. So, all right, now we're going to get into today's show. Hope you guys enjoy it. What were you saying? You have nicotine pouches?
Yeah.
I'm trying to quit?
Yeah, I feel like take it slow.
Yeah, don't rush it.
In one day. I'm still gonna smoke when I'm drinking, or like when
that's when you're supposed to smoke.
I feel like when it'll look really cool aesthetically. Like if I'm like standing up on like a brick wall.
Yeah, right.
Rip a cig quick in case anybody walks by. Like, damn, that boy cool.
Or in a restaurant. Well, you can't these days. In a movie theater. Well, no. Airplane. They used to smoke on airplanes. But that's good. That's good for your health, man. Apparently, I'm reading that smoking is actually bad for you.
I've heard. Yeah. But yeah, it's all like, I want to kill somebody.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I would kill it. If it wasn't for these things right now, you'd be dead. You'd be a dead man.
Well, maybe hold off on those for a little bit. We'll see what happens.
No, I've been popping these like fucking TikToks.
Tic-Tacs, yeah.
I was going to say Xanax for some reason.
Oh my God, yeah, that's a whole other thing you have to quit. I miss Tic-Tacs.
It's hard when you drink, though. Speaking of drinking, man, I can't drink anymore. Well, I can, but like, I'm not what I used to be.
Oh, I feel you on that. I had 4 Guinnesses that night.
Yeah.
And I was fucked up.
I had like...
And a shot of Patron.
I want to say like 7 seltzers and the tequila.
Oh.
Which like...
I forgot about that.
Which is not bad. Like, all right, that's maybe a lot, but like, I woke up the next morning and I was just butt-ass naked. And that only happens when I'm like really drunk. I just wake up butt naked for some reason. I don't know why. I've been trying to actually get down to the cause of it, because I don't think like I would just go to bed, like, time for bed, let me just get naked.
Yeah, something's happening at night.
I think at night I just get like uncomfortable and I'm like, go free balling for the rest of the night.
Sleeping drunk is not fun. I can never do it.
Either fully clothed or butt naked. No in between.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the NerdSoup Podcast. I am Bo Oliver, joined here today with Aaron, the NerdSoup Monkey, and we are back to talk about the world of Hollywood. We don't even have a top story. Oh, no, we do. I just have the wrong outline up, but look at that. I'm going to go ahead and download the new outline and let you guys know that.
Other podcast?
Right, for my second podcast. You guys don't know about that.
What is it?
Don't worry about it. You'll find out in my will when your clones show up to the funeral. The alternate Aaron, Teddy, and Nash, and Carissa. Yeah, listen to
Why
us.
did she get a name change? Just alternate Aaron and Ash, and then Carissa. It's not like Baron and Cash.
It has something to do with she's more important, so she gets a name change. I don't know.
I don't like that.
Yeah, well, you can listen to this podcast, of course, on YouTube, and, people have been pressing us about the podcast channel. We'll address that eventually, but you can also check us out on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and Amazon Music and Google Podcasts, all the places for your podcast delights. And follow us on social media at BoSoup, at NerdSoupMonkey, and, of course, at NerdSoup, the main at. And at NerdSoup on YouTube now. They've introduced ats. So you can add us on YouTube.
How does that work?
No idea, but they asked us to create an at, and they said we already created one for you, and it was at Nerd Soup, and I was like,
deal.
You guys are just doing the work for us. Thanks, Mr. Google.
YouTube is, everyone's in the short game now.
Everyone's in the short game. Dippity-doo-dah, Wednesday, World Cup, Elon.
Yeah, that's basically what it is. I'm far behind. I still like the good old fashioned long form YouTube.
Long and hard.
YouTube should stick to the long form.
Well, YouTube, I mean, when it was Fred and the unicorn, those were its glory days. That's the golden age. It's like the golden age of comics. Those were the golden days of YouTube. Nobody was trying to... Fred wasn't in it for the money.
Oh, he was totally in it for the money.
No, eventually, but when he first made the first Fred video, he thought, hey, it's Fred.
Cashed out, man. He sold out.
No, he sold out.
Corley.
But before he sold out, that's when it was pure. It was just madness.
There was Fred the movie starring John Cena.
Sure, but no, he was part of the old era, and then he transitioned to talkies. And he ushered in the destruction of the golden age.
Do you remember Ebaum's World? I feel like that was like Twitter before Twitter. That's where all the viral videos and I guess pictures would go.
Maybe.
Like a conglomerate.
I remember World Star, of course, but
you found like the viral videos on there was like remember the end of Z World video?
No.
It's like the stick figures. Funny stuff. That was peak
okay.
internet.
Right.
Addictinggames.com.
That I remember, the stick figures. You used to love that? Pat Cassidy.
You had to be...
That kid always had cookies in his house. We used to eat his cookies and watch the stick figures.
Oh, man. I remember, what were some good old YouTube videos? Well, the Leprechaun. That was like the first viral. I remember I was at like an adult's house with my parents, I think. It's like, oh, you gotta come. That's how it used to be. Did you guys see this video? Come over and hover around this HP desktop and watch this YouTube video. Now it's just a click away.
Was the other trailer you were talking about Super Mario?
Yeah, I think it was.
Wow. I like that Super Mario trailer.
Well, we kind of talked about it in the last podcast.
Yeah, we got our live reactions, really, right there at the end. Chris Pratt's woohoo.
By the way, live reactions, if Aaron Judge signs at San Francisco during this podcast.
Could get very emotional. Could be one of our most emotional episodes because of that. Let's not even focus on that. Let's just go to the first story. We're talking about another trailer for The Last of Us. This is actually the second trailer, and I didn't want to watch this, but then I realized on the outline we don't really have a lot of big stories. There's not a headliner.
You played the game.
I looked up House of the Dragon. There's nothing. Game of Thrones too.
Well, no, I said Last of Us. I don't know why you would avoid the trailer.
Oh, yeah, that is true. Well, just for any, I don't know. Yeah, I guess that doesn't make sense.
Didn't give much away.
I'm stupid. No, it didn't.
I think it was a good trailer.
And I think like some of the reactions I saw online, I need to just get off the internet, but some of the people already talking about Bella Ramsey being a disappointment because she doesn't look like this 3D CGI rendered avatar. Come on. Yeah, she looks like a real person because she's not actually a video game character. They got a real live girl to play a fictional girl. Oh my God.
I don't like it.
But it exposes some weird feelings that some fans have. We won't even touch on that. But once again, not even giving this poor girl a fucking shot. 2 trailers in and it's already a disappointment. But I think visually it looks stunning and definitely looks like it's going to be the best video game adaptation probably ever because it's just such a great story and it looks like they're going all out for it. And it's a great team. behind the camera, obviously bringing in Druckmann, who wrote the 2 games, but also Craig Mazin helming it as showrunner. So it's, once again, Game of Thrones final season. How could they fuck this up, right? I'm going to make that other prediction. It looks like, at the very least, it's going to be a good series, and it's got potential for greatness, just based on these trailers.
Yeah, and I think just from the little bit we got, I think both Bella Ramsey and Pedro Pascal fit the characters very well.
Right, that's what we saw more of Ellie in this trailer, and I thought it was fine when she did the little clicker impersonation.
Yeah.
I thought that was a good impersonation.
I thought it was a clicker for a second.
Yeah, I was
it's Bella Ramsey.
That changed the lore.
Wow. The needle drop was one of the worst I've ever experienced.
Isn't that from the game, though?
Yeah, but I didn't like the rendition of it. I don't think we need Dark Take on Me.
Yeah, that's one of those weird Hollywood trends.
Where they slow it down, they had a different tone to it. It's like, I believe in the game, they do listen to, but it's just a song, I believe, right?
Yeah, it's just, right.
So just play the song, like have it play out in the trailer. I don't know. It was just a weird, I guess it's fun to make
Strange
that connection,
drop,
but it was just, it took me, I was like, whoa, that's an interesting choice. But other than that, the trailer looked gorgeous. I think there was one shot where they're looking down. I think it's a abandoned road with the cars and the overgrown grass, and it looked like taken straight from a game. Like, that's the establishing shot before you get to play with Joel and like make your way through this highway. It looks really, really well done. So as for fans of the game, I think that even though we know the story, there are still some things that I'm interested to see and how they adapt it in television form. I think you're going to get more maybe not more, but maybe different character dynamics, different characterizations, different relationships, or just more with some supporting characters. Because even though after saying that, thinking about the amount of time spent in the gameplay, it probably equals out to about an 8-hour series.
Yeah, I would say so. About, maybe 10, 12.
But I think there's more time for these character moments that have to, because you can't have non-stop action sequences. There's got to be some time where they kind of collect themselves and have that kind of character connections that you see with pretty much every series. So it'll be interesting how they tackle that, and I think there'll be room to add some things. But for the most part, like you said, you have the template. That plane is close.
Yeah, I know. It's okay at this point. That's staying.
Yeah. Like you said, like you have the template. At this point, it's kind of just keep doing what worked or do what worked in the game.
Yeah, and I think it really is going to come down to, like the game, if the relationship between Joel and Ellie works. And that development in the game was so incredible because Joel doesn't start off like in Logan. Logan's very mean to X-23. But Joel and Ellie don't really have that sort of relationship. They don't trust each other because of the world. And obviously, people who have played the game, they understand that Joel has lost a bit of his humanity because of what he goes through. And same thing with Ellie. She's lost a lot. So it's just, that's one of the themes of the game, is that people no longer trust each other because everything's broken down. So I hope they don't play up the I'm a grown man, I have no time for children trope. I hope it is a bit more natural and authentic, because that's the trap that they can fall into, is they try to really nail this relationship and they go a bit too far with some of these traits, where if they make Ellie's annoying in the game, but she doesn't annoy you. She annoys Joel. She's fun for the audience because she's cheeky and she's witty and she is a prototypical kid, and even though she is a bit wise beyond her years. So I think that's difficult to really nail down the characterization of a relationship that was already played out so well in another form. So that's going to be the ultimate test, and we have to wait until we see episode 1, episode 2, episode 3, how it develops throughout the season. But I think at the very least it's going to be entertaining, and especially what they've done with the clickers and the bloaters.
Yeah,
they ripped them straight from the game. That's the thing. There's stuff that you can change to make it fit live action, but there's some stuff that you shouldn't fucking change. And they understood with these zombies, it's a great design, it's going to scare the shit out of people, we're just going to do that. So I love to see it, and we got that one moment with the bloater. We even saw Ashley Johnson, who voices Ellie in the 2 games. She's going to be playing Ellie's mother in the live-action show. And I think there's also a shot of Troy Baker. He's in in one of those gangs that they run into. And obviously Nick Offerman is Bill. That's going to be fun. So I'm just really excited to see this. And we're about a month away, a little over a month away from episode 1. 2 good trailers. It's got some potential.
Yeah, definitely. And it gives us something. When does Succession come back?
They were saying spring 2023, right?
All right. So it gives us something to help, like, bridge that gap.
I love Succession so much. I can't wait for that show.
I forgot who I was talking about it with, but everyone was just. I actually heard a funny. It's not a funny story, but about the guy who plays Greg. Like someone I know, like ran into them at a bar.
Nicholas Braun, I think his name is.
Not kind of a dick, but.
Oh, he's feeling himself? Did he buy into his Greg hype?
Might have.
Wow. Well, you know what? Don't meet your heroes, right?
I don't even think she started watching until after. Maybe after.
Oh my God, he was a dick to a woman?
Yeah.
Being a dick to a man, it's like, yo. I remember Benny the Butcher said this once.
I don't know if it was. I know that's why I don't want to say, like, if you're listening, Nicholas Braun.
Well, yeah, right. Like, he's a big Nerd Soup fan. He's like, if I ever ran into those guys in public, I'd be very gentlemanly to them.
But I didn't.
Very polite.
I was kind of like, I'm upset that you told me that.
It hurts your perception of Greg now, right, as a character? Because he's not like that in real life.
I think she made it up.
Wow, now you're calling this person a liar.
No, I just want to be like, that's
who
not
was
cousin
it?
Greg.
I'll just cut it out.
Like, he went up to her and was like, this is before they met, but was like, basically like, do you know who I am?
Tried to hit on her?
By saying like, oh, you know who I am?
Oh my God, that's awful.
And she said no, and he just walked away. It's like, oh, never, like, said something like, well, you don't matter, or something like that, and like just dismissed her because he didn't know who he was.
Oh my God. Wow, yeah. Like I said, I said don't meet your heroes, and you're like, this girl wasn't even watching the show. She watched after and realized that was the man who was mean to her. Oh, that's upsetting. Well, you know what? Let's move on to some better news. Well, actually, it's not great news. Well, for Black Panther it is. Wakanda Forever, U.S. weekend box office, once again at the top spot. Came in with 17.5 million, 61% drop off. So I don't know if it's going to hit $1 billion. Right now, domestically, it's closing in on 400, and worldwide, it's at 733. Number 2 was Violent Night, the Santa Claus R-rated comedy starring David Harbour as Santa Claus. Came in at number 2 with 13.3 million. Domestically, it's at 13.3, and worldwide, it's at 20.4 against a $20 million budget. So it's got some potential during the holiday season. Strange World, this continues to be one of the most devastating stories in the history of Hollywood. Number 3 with 4.9 million. Domestically, it's at 25. Worldwide, it's at 42 against a, let's say, $150 million budget. Average it out. The Menu. Back on the top 5 at number 4 with 3.5 million. Domestically, it's up to 24. Worldwide, it's at 47.2 against a $30 million budget. So I think the Menu's got a chance of crossing that $100 million mark. And
I feel like that's going to be a movie like once it comes on streaming.
Oh, yeah.
People are going to be like, oh, wow.
I think so. I wonder where it's going to come out because it's Searchlight, which is Disney. So...
Hulu?
Maybe Hulu, yeah.
I saw when I went on Hulu the other day, Andor is now streaming on Hulu.
Oh,
and
interesting.
It took me a second to be like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, I did see that too.
That makes sense.
I didn't even think twice about it. I just thought,
I'm like, wait.
Man, I hate my life.
I wonder if that was just to get more eyeballs on it because it did underperform, or it is just a more mature type Star Wars show, so maybe it might lend to a more a streaming service not targeted towards adults, but not as targeted to children as Disney Plus is.
Yeah, it could be both. And it doesn't hurt, right? I'm sure there are plenty of people out there who have Hulu but don't have Disney, don't have the ESPN package, so could get more eyeballs on it, get people more excited for season 2. I think the name truly does hurt it, and name
Hulu?
is so important. No, Andor.
Oh.
Like HBO Max and Discovery wanting to name their new streaming service Max. You Google HBO Max, you're only going to get HBO Max stuff. If you Google Max, You're going to get any fucking thing with Max. You know how hard it is? It's like with Rey in Star Wars.
Yeah.
It always pissed me off that she never had a surname. There was another one, too, that I Googled the other day, and you just couldn't find anything about it. You had to be more specific. I'm trying to remember what brand name it was. I think it was a studio. But, like, if you Google DreamWorks...
Yeah, you get DreamWorks.
You get DreamWorks, which I hate that new opening. Well, Fabelmans was good.
Hulu is a weird name. I don't know what it means. Disney Plus, I'm getting Disney.
It's not supposed to mean anything. It's provocative.
I only watch Hulu for anime. Well, My Hero Academia.
Well, check out Chainsaw Man. You actually really like it. Number 5 was Devotion, another box office disaster, which is at 2 points. It came in with 2.7 domestically. It's at 13.8 worldwide. It says it's at 13.9. I don't know if it hasn't opened in other markets so far, but I can't imagine France is going to be bumping up those numbers. If Americans don't want to see a war movie about America, who the hell wants? Who's going to see this besides?
What war is it about?
Korean War.
Okay.
The Forgotten War.
I was going to say, if it was about World War II, they better watch.
I know.
Let
the
them
Korean
know
War, yeah.
Let them know who saved their French asses. Vietnam was always a big war in my house. Just my stepdad just was in Vietnam.
All right, well, you know what? Let's move on to another Marvel story. There you go. There's the U.S. weekend box office. Nothing really big to talk about. We got a behemoth coming out next week, and I'm so excited to see what Avatar 2, The Way of Water, ends up doing its opening weekend. Isn't that next week?
Holy shit.
It's the 16th, right?
Huh?
Yeah. Yep, and these early reviews have been really good. A lot of people, really, I mean, even critics I didn't expect to like this movie seem to be loving it. Or that critics sometimes that they don't, it's hard to impress them with big blockbuster movies, but everyone seems to be
I think James Cameron's different, though. He's James Cameron. Like, at this point, it's just like James Cameron.
I'm laughing at the way you said that. It's so Twitter of you. James Cameron's just different, though.
And that's like I just meant that like as
yeah, no, I know.
James Cameron.
Yeah, no, certainly. It's not like it's not a Marvel movie. It's not like he's
James Cameron.
Himmy Cameron.
Himmy Cameron.
I liked somebody once called Jimmy Neutron Himmy Neutron when he made that candy that had the whole block going crazy.
I hate when company Twitters
tweet like random people.
Try to be like cool.
Yeah. Like Duolingo.
It'll be like one player would like make like a catch, like, oh, he's him. That's his first catch of the season.
Remember when Katy Perry got slimed? And Duolingo quote tweeted it?
Oh, yeah.
And implied that.
Yeah. They meant Dua Lipa.
All right, let's move on to the next story. It's Marvel related.
Dua Lipa.
She's very talented.
That video of her like doing the
the dance, yeah.
That's like the most like that just always comes up.
That's your timeline.
No, I don't think it's physical. I think people are just still talking about it.
Yeah, no, that's going to live on the internet forever.
As it should. There should be certain things that live on the internet, like just constant reminders. That one, the Beans tweet from Cars 2, that should pop up more often.
Dude, did you see that thing I retweeted with Barry Lyndon and 21 Savage?
No.
It was the best mashup of 21 Savage's song A Lot. You have to go on my Twitter page after this. It is the best mashup, hip-hop movie mashup I've ever seen. That song is perfect for that movie.
I don't really listen to 21 Savage, but I think I like him. I think he's just vibing.
In the show Atlanta, they go to England, and they're like, oh, have you heard of this English rapper? They're like, nah.
And I like how he's British.
Yeah. They're like, have you heard of this English rapper? Nah. It's like, well, you've heard of 21 Savage. They're like, yeah. He's from Britain ATL. One of a kind. All right, well, now before we get to the next topic on this video, I want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor for today's video, and that would be Dadgrass. As many of you well know, I'm a big fan of the Puff Puff Pass, but you guys may also know that sometimes you smoke weed and it hits you like an uppercut to the jaw. You get a little bit too high and you can't really enjoy it, and that's where Dadgrass has got you covered. You can mellow out after a long day of work with one of their CBD pre-rolled joints. Just spark it up and get to relaxing. You can even get a little hangover help after a long night out on the town with one of their good time tinctures. Or you can get the sleep that dreams are made of. Get carried off into a cloud and get that healthy 8 hours of sleep with some of their nighttime gummies. There's a whole host of products to choose from, so you can head on over to their website and pick the best one that you think will work for you. And you can also pick something up as a gift for the holidays now that they're right around the corner, and it seems like everybody's into CBD products this day. It'd be a great gift for mom or dad, you know. help them take the edge off of being parents or some siblings or maybe even your furry friends. There are CBD dog bones that you can buy for those hyperactive pups who just need to take the edge off sometimes. It's a tough life being a pet. And like I mentioned, they offer a variety of products, so you can toke or dose just the way you like it. From their CBD tincture drops to the newly launched CBD gummies in flavors like classic blackberry ginger, good time hibiscus lime, and nighttime midnight berry. You can chill out without getting stoned. And weed these days, it's so strong. They're always mixing and mastering and making new concoctions and crazy names. So sometimes, like I mentioned at the top of the spot, you want to take the edge off without getting a little bit too loopy. And that's where Dadgrass is so great. All their products are federally legal for ages 18 and over, and it ships right to your door anywhere in the United States. So head on over to dadgrass.com/nerdsoup. You can find the link in our description box below and receive 20% off your first order. And let me know what you get. Maybe we can have a little Nerd Soup kumbaya over the holiday season. All right, Blade, look at this. We talked about this a few weeks ago that Bassam Tariq was leaving the project and that it was looking for not only a new director but a new writer, and they have been found. So French director Yann Demange is going to helm the MCU's version of Blade, and it's going to be written by Michael Starberry. Recently, Yann Demange directed the pilot for Lovecraft Country, which a lot of people enjoyed, and he's also done White Boy Rick. He was the director of that. Which wasn't as well received as his first movie, which was a war movie set in Belfast, 1971, taking place during the Troubles, and it's called 71, which was very critically acclaimed. So I think that, for now, Blade is in good hands, capable hands, and it seems that Mahershala Ali is the one who's really driving this project creatively. I mean, how often... I don't think this has ever happened where a leading actor in an MCU movie went to Feige and said, "This sucks. We need to start from the fucking beginning." Feige's usually the one making that calls, and Marvel hasn't had that issue. Not all of their movies are good, but they usually start on time and finish on time. And at times, directors have moved in and out, and writers have been brought in to punch up some scripts.
I mean,
but this is unprecedented.
I respect it. I mean, how many times do you see a good actor just be in a shit movie? And you kind of, I don't know what the process is like, but, you know, I feel like they would just be like, okay, it is what it is. I'll do my best, but I got paid. I'll just do the movie and next project. Mahershala Ali's like, no, you see my lineup? Banger after banger. But he's like, I don't know, maybe the best actor, arguably.
Ever.
Top 5 working right now. Like,
yeah.
And I think Blade is such an iconic character that I don't think just mediocre would do well for him. It's like, I came to the MCU, I took this role in a... it probably wasn't his first idea maybe to start doing Marvel movies, but I think with this character and what Feige kind of pitched to him, it probably got him on board. And when that wasn't the case, he was like, no, I'm not just gonna do this movie just to do it.
I do think it was him who went to Marvel and basically said, I'm gonna play Blade, and Kevin Feige was like, great.
Well, yeah, even more to that.
So even since the beginning, he's the one sort of not pulling the strings, but like I said, he's got more influence over how this story is going to pan out. That speaks more
to how he wants to get it right, and he wants to play this character and give it the respect it deserves on screen. So,
and you're coming off of a legacy of films that people still love. People love those Wesley Snipes Blade movies. Blade 2 is often considered a cult classic. Guillermo del Toro. So you've got star power there, in front of the camera, behind the camera. You are living up to a legacy here. Well, you do need to live up to this legacy. If this comes out and it's an absolute stinker, how many times have we seen actors win Oscars, win critical acclaim, then they make a big budget movie and it totally sucks? And that sometimes that hurts their careers. It hurts sort of the trajectory they're on. So if he comes out in Blade and it's a smash hit at the box office, critics love it, honors that legacy of those first movies, honors the legacy of the character, and people are excited for what else this character is going to do in the MCU, you know, then you get it's like you're starting all over again, because it's like, who wants me again? Now I'm the biggest fucking draw in the world. who am I going to work with now? So
I think with Blade 2, it's not a project that necessarily has to be on any set timetable in terms of the greater MCU.
right.
It's like I don't think you need Blade to be ready for anything going on in the quantum realm or
Yeah, he
Secret
ain't dealing with that
Wars
shit.
or like I'm sure he can work. Obviously, there's a spot for him, but he very much operates in his own little worlds with, I guess, Kit Harington now. I forgot about that.
Yeah,
So
he's there at the end of Eternals. He says something to him.
why were you? What was the point of you being a Targaryen?
Even Blade. I'm surprised. Yeah. Well, hope it's good.
Yeah.
And like you said, there should be no rush to get this movie out. And there was a report recently that Marvel is going to focus again on quality over quantity. So we'll see if they stick to that.
Coming next fall to Disney Plus.
Thor 5 and 6, a double feature.
Did you watch the Guardians Christmas special?
I did. I liked it.
I was disappointed. I love the Guardians.
You wanted more?
No, I just think it wasn't.
Good?
Yeah. Well, I laughed at certain points, but it wasn't like. I think it was catered more to children.
I think so.
And that's all well and good. So in that aspect, yeah, it was like a fun little Christmas special, but
I think it was supposed to be in the vein of the original Star Wars, where you have the big stars for a little bit. Rocket. I was going to call him Racket. That's his cousin. He never shuts up. Star-Lord. I love Drax, even though he's become such a caricature of the original character. I get such a kick out of that. Drax and Mantis reminded me of SpongeBob and Patrick.
they're a fun duo.
They're just two comic relief characters off on an adventure together. I thought the Kevin Bacon stuff, it made me laugh when they kept calling him a repugnant actor. And then the conversation ends with Drax going, "We hate you."
I'm surprised.
And I cried. I can't lie. When she gave him the news about being her sister.
Yeah,
his
that
sister.
was a cool little
It was touching.
add to the lore. I don't get how no one knew them. Because everything else in the MCU, like, everything.
I thought they did know them.
Everything about Endgame is documented to a T.
I know.
Like, they know every little detail.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if they were implying that some of them did know who they were.
Like, Kevin Bacon had no idea.
Kevin Bacon didn't know.
Yeah, I think he's Kevin Bacon. If anyone's going to know, it's him.
They did straight up kidnap this man. I also got a kick out of when Groot starts hands on his hip, starts shaking his head.
No, he was busting it down.
Well, and then Star-Lord's like, "Don't act like you're disappointed in the plan now. Don't say it was a bad plan now. I just saw you roll him
Yeah,
out."
there was a couple funny parts.
A for effort.
No, I'm excited for Guardians 3. That was another trailer.
That one I didn't watch.
Look,
What did you think? I guess we'll just add that as a topic.
I liked it. If you've been listening, like Guardians 1 is it's right up there with Winter Soldier for me. And I love the characters, and I like what James Gunn just does with those movies. So I think it's like one of my most anticipated movies, like looking forward in the MCU. But yeah, I think it was a solid trailer. I don't know if it gave too much away. I think it hinted at some things that could, but like maybe things that were speculated or are kind of out there. But yeah, I can't wait to get this crew together again. That's what I wanted from the Christmas special, and I got a little of that, but felt like it was like a watered down version of Guardians.
Right. Well, yeah, I put it on evening, had a nice cup of coffee.
Yeah, it's good.
It was good for the Christmas vibes. I logged it on Letterboxd, but I didn't put a rating.
In 2 weeks from now, maybe I should have watched it with like a hot cocoa.
Right.
I don't think I'm going to do holidays
With a baddie?
this year. For the baddie.
Always helps.
I
What do you mean you're not going to do holidays? What the hell does that even mean?
think I'm out on the holidays this year. I'm not feeling the Christmas spirit. Or the Hanukkah spirit. Hanukkah's in like 2 weeks too. Holy shit.
Oh, wow, they're crossing over this time?
I got to check, actually.
I always liked that when Hanukkah and Christmas crossed over as a kid.
My grandma texted me about Hanukkah. Okay, it's Sun. Ooh, okay.
All right, well,
So we only do like one night when we all get together because we're busy, but I thought it was going to be
because of inflation.
Yeah, but I thought it was going to be Avatar Day.
Oh, that would have been bad.
I know. There is a thing in town. I got a funny story about town, by the way. Well, they did the Christmas parade, and they lit up the gazebo, big tree lighting. They really did a good job. The whole family. It was a lot of fun. What do you think Hanukkah got?
A menorah in the window.
There's a little menorah, and then but it's covered in Christmas trees and custom Christmas trees from everywhere. There's like a little bush in the corner with like a couple of like blue stuff on it. We got a Hanukkah bush.
Hanukkah bush.
Which makes sense. I mean, Moses.
I actually just picked up some Hanukkah bush at the dispensary.
Yeah, that shit. That shit lasts for 8 days.
Yeah.
8 nights.
Right, yeah, look at that.
I guess were they trying to do like a Moses thing? It's like, oh, we really don't know too much about this. But didn't Moses talk to a bush? It's like, yeah.
Yeah, right, yeah. Yeah, there you go.
But
I love all the memes about Kratos in the next God of War. He's going to fight Jesus.
They're always scared to put Jesus in the gods.
Because it's not as fun.
I think it would be, it's like, Thor, Love and Thunder, meeting all the gods. Where's Jesus?
He's boring. He's got no powers. He turns water to wine. Wow.
Thor would love that.
Thor is a beer drinker. He loves his ale. He'd be like, if you're blind, you can see now. Like, can you fly, buddy?
What about John Smith?
No, but kill me and watch. Watch what happens.
Yeah.
Just watch. I'll be back. Oh, John Smith? He's not a god. No, humanity is trending in the right direction where they're like, okay, God exists, but he could just do little things. But now it's just like,
well, how far removed do you have to be from it? Like, because I feel like with Zeus and all them now, it's like, well, that was so long ago. We can riff off them. Because I guess there's no one that still follows
nobody.
that.
If you do, then yeah, you're just a dork. like you pray to Zeus. There's got to be somebody out there who still prays to Zeus.
Honestly, that's cool.
Right, no, at that point, you're just in a weird, wacky cult that I'm sure has fun parties. All right, let's move on to this next teaser. This may be the trailer you were talking about.
I had a bow bun.
Bong Joon-ho's next film, Mickey 17, starring Robert Pattinson. Did you see this little teaser?
Yeah, I did.
Not much there, but 2024, which really isn't too far away, but...
It had to be 2023. Wow.
The premise, are you familiar with the premise?
No, I'm not.
So he's a humanoid robot that's sent to colonize a distant planet, and this is the 17th version of that robot. So when the robot dies, his memories get uploaded to a new Mickey. So there's been Mickey 1 through 16, and the idea is that maybe Pattinson will get to play around with different characters, personalities, traits.
Disney is still... They're still at it in the far future, huh?
Robert Pattinson as Mickey Mouse. I think he could pull that off.
They just never gave it a break. It's Disney's trying to get this new...
I think that patent is...
He's going there to build a new theme park.
On this distant planet?
Yeah.
It's a race between Disney and Elon Musk's head. It's been cryogenically frozen.
I'm going to write that movie. Walt Disney's frozen too.
Exactly. That's why they compete. Yeah. Elon and Walt both frozen.
Wow. This is writing itself.
Yeah, hold on. Cut these mics off. Don't put this in. Blur this all out. We don't want anybody to steal it. By anybody, I mean Nash.
Do you think Bong Joon-ho is like is he box office now?
Yeah. No, he's gotten to that point.
Outside of film Twitter circle, like he makes a movie, people are going to go out. Maybe not to the extent they would have as for Spielberg actually.
I think he's sort of in that...
They didn't put Fabelmans in any theaters. Or like a Tarantino, but like that's a name people go. Like that's the star of the movie is the director.
I still think he needs to... He's sort of like a Rian Johnson in that territory because I think guys like Scorsese, Tarantino, Spielberg, even Nolan... My mom knows who Christopher Nolan is. My mom has no idea who Bong Joon-ho is. But if I told her the director of Parasite, I think that's enough. Because you always see that with trailers, right? Well, yeah, from the director.
That's got to be everywhere.
Right. So when people see from the director of Parasite, a lot of people know what Parasite is over here. So, yeah, I think he's, like I said, that Rian Johnson territory where even people outside of film Twitter and film circles are more familiar with him than your, like... I don't know, Damien Chazelle, but he's kind of on his way to that too. I think this is going to be big. So with Parasite, he goes back home. Now he's coming, and normally I don't like his English language movies as much as his Korean language films. Didn't love Snowpiercer. Aksha is fine for what it is, and I think those are the only two.
Do you think there is how do I put this? Like even like with Guillermo del Toro or like a Bong Joon-ho, like do you think it's easier to write something in your native language or in your native setting that just kind of it's an easier transition or it's more natural to them as a filmmaker?
Well, I think...
I'm not saying that like I didn't love Snowpiercer, but I think it's still good. Like it's not like it's a complete garbage movie. It's a good movie, but...
Well, I think what happens is, like with Parasite, you go back home working with Korean actors, working in the country where you're from. The story ends up being more personal.
Yeah.
And a bit smarter and a bit sharper. So I think it's more so that, and it's the same thing with Guillermo del Toro. When he was making Spanish language movies, the stories were smaller, they were a bit more personal, and his English language movies have been huge. I mean, The Shape of Water was sort of,
well, it seems like
he exclusively makes movies in English now.
It seems like when the directors do choose, like even like Quran, it's like, that's a personal story to him, so he's going to make it in what he knows. So
right.
I think just off of that alone, there's going to be a higher level or more care taken. Not to say he doesn't put in care to everything he makes, but like if you do like Prisoner of Azkaban, I feel like you're going to get a better him at his best when he's doing like Aroma, for instance.
Although Prisoner of Azkaban is a masterpiece.
It is a great movie.
No, I think there's definitely something to that. I mean, there's something about art that's not always going to translate. So when you watch a movie... Like when I watch movies with my cousin, he speaks Spanish and he's familiar with Mexican dialects. So there are certain things that make him laugh that I'll never pick up on because it's almost like an inside joke.
Yeah, that's one thing I envy when I watch something in either like Japanese or Spanish, like that I'm not fluent in it, where I can just experience it without reading the subtitles. Something
will always be lost.
Mm-hmm.
It's like in The Queen's Gambit when she meets that dude in the Russian class who's taking Russian because he wants to read Dostoevsky and in Russian. That's I'm not going to do that.
I want to watch My Hero in Japanese.
I always think like, what language would I do, and then I would have those films in that language. But I'm desperately trying for Spanish. It's just so hard to learn a different language.
I feel like you might miss little things. Like if I'm stuck reading something and my eyes are going back and forth, I think I've gotten like used to it to the point where I don't like, even I watch English movies with subtitles, but I'm still listening. I don't have to read all the time. So
right.
Maybe just something in the scene or the type of shot, and you kind of maybe just miss it, something like that. But yeah, I mean, and it was also Robert Pattinson. I mean, working with some of the best filmmakers now, I think, really establishing himself as a leading man. Because even like post Twilight, like better movies, but now I feel like he is a leading man now with the Batman. Because even in Tenet, supporting. I think when you look at The Lighthouse was probably like our first, it's like, oh, he can carry a movie. And obviously with William Dafoe, but that's one of the cases where it's just two stars, like where they're both kind of leading the thing and they kind of bounce off each other so well. But yeah, working with the best directors in the world, establishing himself as a leading man, becoming somebody that I think is going to be a name that drives people to the theater.
Yeah, definitely. And I think...
in a way... I think he always had that star power, but in a way like, oh, Robert Pattinson's in it, this is going to be good.
Right, and I think a lot of those younger fans who liked him in Twilight are now more interested in some of his maturer films. And you can sort of lose the love you have for an actor like that if he falls into obscurity or if he doesn't capitalize on the fame. And he did such a great job. It's not even about capitalizing, but he said, I'm going to play my role. I'm not always going to be the leading man. And I'm going to work with talented directors who aren't trying to make the biggest movies in the world. And it's come full circle where he gets to play Batman in a movie that makes close to $1 billion. And now he gets to work with Bong Joon-ho in a movie that's going to not only be big, but it's going to be smart. So I think he's sort of like Leo in that regard, where Leo wasn't always making the biggest movie out there on the market, but it was always a good movie with a good filmmaker, and he didn't settle for less. And it looks like Pattinson doesn't want to settle for anything less than good. And with Bong Joon-ho, you can say that's greatness that he's working with now. And he's done that in the past. So yeah, it's just super impressive what he's done. When you hear him talk, he seems like a truly humble guy, and that he understands what it takes to stay relevant and get the most out of your career as an actor. He seems to be someone who really just enjoys acting and enjoys, like Willem Dafoe says, being a creature for that person behind the camera.
Yeah.
So like, we we love Pattinson on this podcast.
Big Patton pod.
Like I said, two guys who you can argue, I don't know if he'll ever reach the heights of Twilight, but I guess in this second act of his career, he's at the height of it. Coming off of so many great movies where he's gotten critical acclaim, then The Batman, where many people think he's arguably the best Batman ever. So I think this is going to do really well.
You know what's a worse look than even Twilight for him, though? And even the 9/11 movie?
Don't say Cedric Diggory.
Not Cedric, it's himself, but Harry kissing his girlfriend in front of his picture after he died.
That was crazy.
That's a bad look, man.
Yeah. Did that right in front of his ghost. Not a good look.
Yeah. And their ghosts are, that's a thing in that world. It's a hard pill to swallow. Especially fucking Harry Potter. At least like with Ron, when Crumb takes your girl, you gotta just accept it. So that's Crumb.
Crumb was such a dumb jock. Fucking meathead. I used to hate that guy. Not because of Ron, just because of me. Like, who you think you're good enough for Hermione? I don't give a fuck about Ron.
Man, I think I like Harry Potter, actually. I think I said I never said I hated it, but I always said I've never been a big Harry Potter guy. But it's always on TV, and I always just put it on and watch it.
Bangers, 8 for 8. We always talk about it.
Yeah, we kind of blew by those topics, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, they aren't judged on yet?
All right, let's go to fan questions.
That's for the fan to decide.
Yay! People, you call up to the show, you better be ready. That's what you're supposed to do. Sitting there arguing and you're trying to spell your name and all of this other stuff. It's not your show, it's my show. I'm giving you the opportunity to speak your mind. Don't call up here unless you got something to say.
Shohei Ohtani is expected to both... Oh, okay. It says expected to both hit and pitch for Team Japan, which makes sense. But I thought it was going to be like, read it like he's going to... Which doesn't make sense at all. That he was going to like hit and pitch for Japan and USA. Like he's really taking this two-way player thing to a whole nother level.
This question here from Anis_101. Can you guys review Glass Onion? It's really good. Well, Aaron, you have seen Glass Onion, right? You've seen it for a while now.
We did. I reviewed it.
Oh my God! Yeah, wait, we did review it.
Yeah.
Anis, I got some good news for you, buddy.
I guess not a spoiler. Like I was very vague because it was still like.
And we'll probably talk about it on the podcast when it does come out on Netflix. So I didn't get the chance to see it in theaters.
No, it was really good.
Because I don't want to.
Rian Johnson is, he's good at that type of movie. I think he's a good director regardless, but like, you hate to put directors in like a bubble, but if he just makes like one of those every few years, I'll be very happy.
This question here from Gene_Clyde, favorite slow burn? It's funny because recently, big controversy over the Sight and Sound greatest movies of all time poll. And the number one movie was a Belgian movie called Jeanne Dielman. And a lot of people talking about, man, people who are getting into... Because a lot of people use these lists to get into movies, to expose themselves to films from all over the world. And now that movie sits at number one. And it moves at a snail's pace, intentionally. About a woman and her home life and how it is being a housewife. And I think that not all slow burns are created equal. And there can be a movie that's intentionally slow. Like, okay, one of my criticisms of The Batman is that sometimes it is too slow, and it's like, this doesn't really need to be this slow. And I understand that it's setting up the atmosphere and the noir elements, but it's like, okay, you know, we can move on to the next scene probably.
Yeah.
It comes down to pacing. So, like 2001, I think is a classic.
Well, I think those movies work so much better in a theater setting because you can't pause or like take a break. You just have to endure it.
Right.
And it pays off most of the time. I was actually just thinking about this movie before, Godland. Came out this year that I really liked, and I don't know why I was thinking about it, but it was like, it's just a slow burn of a movie, but it was very good. And I think sometimes I think it depends what you're going into it wanting, or like if you just show it to like a random movie night, I think a slow burn is hard to be a crowd pleaser.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Well, like with the Jeanne Dielman controversy, one side saying budding cinephiles are going to watch this movie and it's going to turn them off of other movies. That's their problem. It's always the art form that we're asking to compromise, to change, to not be art but to be entertainment. And sometimes art can be entertainment. And I think sometimes films would rather be films rather than other forms of art. Everyone looks to movies for stories and plots and themes, but you can get those things in a lot of different places. I think some filmmakers want to explore what are the limitations of film? How can we maximize this experience, this unique experience that you can only get through film? And I think a movie like Gene Dealman is something that it does that. It accomplishes that. It takes the mundane and says that this is worthy of art. And I think a lot of filmmakers don't get the necessary praise that they deserve because they make films in that style. I think even David Lynch is somebody like that.
Well, I think a good slow burn has something underneath it that is either building or keeps the viewer intrigued to the point where it's like, maybe I'm not like edge of my seat or completely, but there's something there that I want to see kind of play out. And that's keeping you going through maybe some of the parts that are deemed to be slower. Or sometimes you're just waiting it's like a slow developing play. It's like you don't see it now, but when it opens up, that's when you actually get the full experience. And a lot of times thematically, when it comes to establishing themes in a movie like that, it's not something that's so on the surface that you kind of know while you're watching. It's something that you kind of pick up either towards the end or even after, like when you're driving home. Or
somebody explains it to you.
Mm-hmm.
I think with movies, sometimes when people say it's such a personal experience, I think somebody comes away from a movie going, I didn't like that, I'll never like that, I don't want to ever hear about it again. But when I watched Gene Dealman and I read a couple of reviews on it, I'm like, man, I didn't even realize some of the things that she was trying to do, some of the themes that she was building. And I enjoyed it. But I think that even reading other people's perspectives on it opened up my mind for what the movie was actually trying to do and makes me want to go back and rewatch it. I think with movies, sometimes people are too afraid to admit that they don't understand it. And that, I guess that always comes off as pretentious.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of like classical.
Isn't that what art is supposed to be?
Yeah.
It's like some people just don't want movies to be anything other than a story sometimes. Just linear, 1 act, 2 act, 3 acts. Go home.
No, I think it's something where it all depends on taste, but I think...
Right, and that's the thing. It's not going to be for everybody anyway. You can watch it, appreciate it, totally hate it. I'm always fine with that.
No, I was going to say it's like classical music.
Right.
There's some people don't really understand the appeal of it, but I think you can still appreciate it, or when you slow it down. You ever get that when like you, I'm trying to remember the song. I was at my grandparents', and he has a classical music station on all the time, and it was a song, and I'm like, holy shit, this was like sampled. That's how I know this song.
Right.
It happens so often.
Oh, yeah, that happens all the time, yeah.
I think it was a Gwen Stefani song, actually, if I'm not mistaken. This is going to bother me. No doubt was, but I'm like, oh my God, that's where I know this song.
Yeah, that happens with oldies all the time.
And I remember when I was a kid, I was singing Akon, Mr. Lonely.
Yeah, that's who did the original?
I forget, but they're like, well, how do you know that song? Akon?
Yeah.
Everyone knows Akon. How do you know Akon?
Yeah, what the hell? Yeah, I think like a movie like Tar, there's certain scenes when they're talking about Mahler's Fifth Symphony. Those are things that I just can't pick up on because I just don't know those things. I don't know those terms. I don't know how to talk about music that way.
It was Rich Girl.
Okay. What did it sample?
It was I think the name of the song is If I Were Rich or something like that, and it has the da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na, and then Gwen Stefani took it and was like, well, I respect what you did, but I'm about to take this shit to the next level.
Yeah, right. Yeah, thanks for setting that up, but let me level us up here.
I'm like, what? Like, why do I know this song? Like, is that Rich Girl from Gwen Stefani? And then I looked on it, and it's like, If I Was a Rich Man was the name of the song.
This question here from Gabs is Gabs. Was there ever a movie where meta acting was necessary or helpful? Well, method acting. I mean, that's like an argument for... It's so hard to say. I don't know if There Will Be Blood, if Daniel Day-Lewis decided not to act like Daniel Playview the whole time, would that have been a lesser movie? It looks like there's more cases of this actor went method and hurt the movie. The biggest one being Jared Leto in The Suicide Squad. He obviously wasn't the biggest problem of that movie. He was one of many problems. But I don't know. It's so hard. Like I said, you see people arguing about this all the time. And I tend to be someone who, like I said, if Daniel Day-Lewis didn't answer to me unless I called him Mr. Lincoln, I just wouldn't talk to him. I'm not going to get you your coffee.
Well, that's what I was talking about a few weeks ago with Jim Carrey and Man on the Moon when he became fucking Andy. And the behind the scenes, like, it was insane. Like, he was... Like, from my perspective, I'm like, he's being a fucking asshole right now.
Right.
But then, like, looking back, people are, like, kind of got used to it and, like, I guess added something to the movie or anything. Like, he was trying to, like, he was talking to his relatives as Andy Kaufman, like, who died. And it's just, like, at a certain point, when does it become disrespectful? Or is it disingenuous? Is it necessary? Or is this just what he needed to do to be in that movie? Like... If you say Daniel Day-Lewis don't method act, is he giving those performances? And if he is, then I would say, then what's the point? But if that's what that actor needs to do to get into this role and give their best performance, as long as it doesn't cross any lines in terms of being mean to people or being disrespectful to people or sending them, what did Jared Leto do? Send like condoms and rats?
Yeah.
It's like at a certain point, like, I think why are you doing it?
Yeah, I'm sure
Do you want the story to leak so people look at you differently? It's like, oh, he's a method actor. Or is it something that you just need to do to get yourself in the right headspace?
Right, there are none coming to mind, but you do often hear from actors complaining about someone being difficult to work with because they were method acting, and they take it a little bit too seriously. And it kind of hurts the workflow, but it's one of those things that's it's tough to answer because I don't know. It's like an alternate world where people weren't method acting, and
because even like Heath Ledger, everyone likes. I think there's this idea that what happened to him was because he got so into the role of Joker. But when you hear people talk to him, like he was kind of just Heath on set, like he was skateboarding and stuff like that. Like he wasn't
fake.
What?
That's fake.
Really? Oh. But
I don't know. With Heath Ledger, it's like you hear different stories about whether if it was method or not. But it doesn't seem like anybody had a problem with it.
Yeah, I heard from actors like maybe like, but like on set, like he wasn't Joker 24/7.
Right. It was more so like he got in the zone type of thing.
Right.
This question here from our men.
Yeah, like Tom Hanks method acting for Won't You Be My Neighbor?
Yeah, I would love that. I wish I was on set for that.
Yeah.
Are you guys doing an Andor review? Yes, we are. Should be dropping next week.
Mm-hmm.
Sometime next week. So be on the lookout for that, all of the Andor fans out there. This question here from Ryder Fletcher. Thoughts on the final season of Atlanta? Pretty great. I thought the finale was excellent. The best way to end that show. Darius is one of the greatest characters ever created. The acting, the writing, the jokes, the comedy, all of it is just so good. I think I enjoyed season 3 a little bit more than season 4 because season 3 had a lot of just episodes that were like anthologies where none of the main characters were in it. And some of those episodes were just the shit that they got away with on that show. That when they say, cancel culture and everything's too PC, not on Atlanta. And it's a lot of smart commentary, but a lot of it is just bonkers shit, dude.
I think
it's fucking funny.
Minnie Kaling came out and was like basically what I think a lot of people said, but like if The Office couldn't be out today because of some of the things from The Office and what you can get away with. Do you think that applies to things that are smart and well thought out? Because I feel like there's certain ways or certain jokes you can make, but it just depends on how they're structured or what the intentions are around them.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And I think a lot of movies get away with it because a movie comes out and it's not like we're all watching it on TV at the same time. Everyone's going at different times and no one's snitching on a movie for being canceled. Sometimes it happens where jokes go too far. Like Licorice Pizza got into a big controversy over the Asian jokes. But I think a show like, I think there are definitely things in The Office that I think writers today just wouldn't do, but people kept making the point that The Office is on TV every single day. You can flip through the channels at any time and find an episode of The Office. People don't seem to be having a problem with it. And then they came out with a streaming service and marketed the whole streaming service around watch The Office. That's the only thing we have.
And Parks and Rec.
No, and I think that you do get away with it. Like I said, with Atlanta, it's not a big spoiler, but there's a scene where there's a shootout in a mall. Some guy just starts blasting. It's terrifying. But then somebody else takes out their gun and they start blasting. And then somebody else takes out their gun and they start blasting. And you realize, oh, we're in the South. Everyone's got a gun.
Yeah.
And then someone else takes out their gun and it's just pop. And it's like, wow, gun violence in America, very serious. It's an issue that seems to be never resolved. We have to live through these tragedies, it seems like, every other week.
Well, the Liam Neeson...
I can't believe they're going there. And then, but it became so ridiculous. It's like, oh,
yeah,
this is hilarious.
The Liam Neeson bit is fucking hilarious, too. I think, yeah, I guess just like Always Sunny, I think, does a great job of towing that line. I think it helps that the characters are so, like, they're meant to display the dumbest in humanity and how some people actually think, or how just how narcissistic and just in their own bubble these people are. And they make fun of, like, you know, real issues or things that in a vacuum would be deemed offensive. But I think the way they structure it and the way it plays out, it ends up being something where you take away, it's like, you know that these people are being ridiculous. So there's no possible way I'm going to agree with them in what they're saying. But it's just funny the way they kind of point it out in certain ways. That reminded me of the episode when their gun control episodes are so fucking funny. Where Frank was like, anyway, I started blasting. There's two guns there. There's one where they're all like anti-gun, but then they get a gun and start shooting it. And they're like, I like the way this makes me feel. So they become pro-gun.
Yeah, I think it's like with Tropic Thunder, Robert Downey Jr. Somebody from Gen Z will discover that and be like, how did Downey get away with this? I haven't seen the movie. Everyone in the movie is very uncomfortable with what he's doing. He's clearly an actor who's way too in over his head. I don't know if you're ever going to see something like that attempted again, but I think, like you said, when you package it a certain way, when it is smart, when it is clever, when it's just good satire, you sometimes get a pass. And you not always do. You don't always get a pass for it, even if it is really well done. You're always going to have somebody there to complain. But it's funny because people complain about Hollywood going too PC. Man, if you're on Twitter is not PC whatsoever. So if you want just the most out of like every time a tragedy strikes, if you want to see people joking about it, go to Twitter. Like if you're complaining about comedy's too PC, there are millions of people on there cracking jokes about everything every second of every day. So like, if you're famous, you just can't do that.
Yeah.
Or you just can't do it relentlessly. Last question here from PhotoFox64. What movie coming out in December has a last-minute chance to win Best Picture? Dare I say the Avatar sequel?
Oh, man.
Avatar 1 was nominated for Best Picture. Didn't win. That year was The Hurt Locker, I'm pretty sure. The Whale.
I feel like that's losing,
I don't know if it's
that's
going to
losing steam, I feel like. Not Best Picture, but I think even Brendan Fraser might be losing some steam.
For Best Actor.
Yeah.
Well, it seems to be there's no... Who are they saying is the favorite right now for Best Picture?
The Fabelmans?
Yeah. There's not like a... Dude, I think Everything Everywhere All at Once is going to make a run. I think that's starting to heat up a little bit.
Man. That was...
What was last year? Last year was something weird, right? Oh, no. The year before was something weird. Wasn't it two weird movies back to back? It was Parasite. What was after Parasite? Oh, no. Chloe Zhao. Nomadland. Not too weird. Like A Shape of Water and then Parasite is weird.
Slow burn. Yeah, it's weird because they seem to flip flop. Like sometimes with the movies, I feel like it's getting muddled. Like what's a Best Picture?
I know. Yeah.
Especially with Coda, because I was just like, a good movie, but like I just never.
Coda winning Best Picture is fucking wild.
It is.
Yeah.
But I think it's a movie everyone can watch and like and enjoy.
Yeah.
But like in a Disney Channel type of way, right?
Yes.
More elevated than that, obviously. But sometimes you need a nice little movie to win. But The Fabelmans, well, everyone's like Austin Butler is getting a lot of steam, I feel like.
Oh, Drive My Car. I mean, Jesus Christ. That should have won it.
Oh, last year?
Yeah.
I mean, we can...
West Side Story. I would have preferred West Side. If West Side Story came out this year, That's your favorite.
Yeah.
I could see The Fabelmans winning it, but I don't know. It's too early. But I think in terms of December movies, it's either got to be, seriously, The Whale or Avatar. If Avatar is as good as people are saying it is, if it blows the doors off of the box office, why not? Especially this year where it seems like there isn't a clear favorite. People tend to agree that it's a weaker year, however you decide that. But
I mean, without Avatar, really, like, let's say Avatar came out next year. I feel like the Best Picture nominees would be a collection of movies that, more so than any other year, that people just didn't see.
I know. Yeah. Top Gun, maybe the only one. But I can't see Top Gun winning.
But I keep forgetting that probably could get nominated.
I definitely think it will. Yeah, you might see two behemoths. You might see Top Gun and Avatar.
I think that's fun.
That would be really fun.
And if they continue
the internet would go... well, the internet's coming around on Avatar. Have you noticed that? Everyone's getting the Avatar fever. You don't hear those motherfuckers whisper in your ear about it's Pocahontas in space.
That's cool.
I know, right? Well, oh my God, awesome.
What
do we do Braveheart in space?
That's even cooler.
British
Maybe this is what the sequel is.
Aliens.
What
The director of RRR put Braveheart on his top 10 ballot for Sight and Sound.
Hell yeah.
Just another shot at the British.
What was I gonna say?
That's actually really fun. I wanted to mention that. If anybody's interested, you could check out all the Sight and Sound ballots. That's another reason why I think that list matters, because Gene Dealman's number one, it's not proclaiming it as the best movie of all time, but it shows that for all the people they polled, and they polled, I think, 1,600 critics, that Gene Dealman was the most frequent on their lists. And that's how the sorting works out. It's you give your 10, and that's a vote for that movie. And whoever has the most votes, that's how the list is decided. So I think it's fun to check out some of these ballots, because a lot of critics will put out ballots of movies that were nowhere to be found on this list, but are great movies that they feel deserve that sort of recognition. So it's a great opportunity for people who want to explore more movies.
I wonder if they're going to continue the trend of putting international features, like one at least, into Best Picture nominee. I hope they...
Well, they're saying Colin Farrell might be the favorite for Best Actor now.
Yeah. That's always weird. Like, I hate that they do that in the way they structure it, because they only put one, and then that just takes away, well, we know who's going to win the Best International Feature. I think if they're going to continue that trend, which I think they should, I mean, cinema is global. I mean, I think, and at this point I think that's one thing streaming and some shows have helped, especially, and with Parasite as well, it's like helped normalize that, like, oh, there are other movies elsewhere, and that people are actually interested in seeing. Save 2 spots for that. At least make it more fun. Because now I know the worst person in the world isn't going to win because Drive My Car is nominated.
I'll never get over Teddy's reaction to Parasite. Is this what an international movie is? Is this what a foreign movie is? There's more of this?
I think
Parasite blew his fucking mind.
Yeah, he just thinks like they're hiding away bangers.
Yeah, like, what the hell? More of this. Another.
No, I think what's the what are the big ones this year?
Tar, Fabelmans, Top Gun.
International?
Oh, international.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure. Banshees, Decision to Leave, maybe.
Well, it's foreign language, so I think...
No, it is international.
Is it?
Yeah. So I think the ones that are being pushed are movies that I still really haven't seen. Like the one from Ireland is The Quiet Girl, so it's not even Banshees.
Okay.
I think they probably think Banshees has enough to just get a Best Picture nod.
Yeah.
But like from India, I can't remember what that name is. At the name of the movie that they're pushing. I'm trying to think from. Like I said, I think Decision to Leave definitely has a shot.
Yeah.
I would love for Decision to Leave to make its way into the Best Picture race. That would be such a great Best Picture winner. Directed by Park Chan-wook, best buds with Bong Joon. Give them both a Best Picture Oscar. That'd be nice. Yeah, that's something I need to research more.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't like how they do that, because then it just takes away all the suspense from international feature.
They should change that. I agree with you. But we're going to wrap this up because I'm starving.
What are you going to eat?
Probably just Subway. Something quick, something easy.
You going to get the Danger
Subway.
Witch? The Danger Witch?
No, I'm not.
Be careful.
I'm going to get the Daniel Jones sub.
It's spicy.
Makes you run like the wind. All right, guys, that is it for the Nerd 2 podcast for today. Thank you so much for listening, for watching.
Yeah, the Daniel Jones sub would just be like your standard, boring, white-ass turkey.
Yeah. Whole wheat bread.
Mayo, but like loaded with fucking hot sauce.
Right.
It's like secretly like a habanero pepper like every 4 bites.
Right.
And you don't know what it's going to be.
Daniel Jones, best third down quarterback in the league. There you go.
And Zach Wilson's sub is just like a glass of milk.
On a hot day.
But the
All right,
milk's
guys.
not cold.
No, it's steaming.
Warm milk on a hot day.
Ugh.
That's slightly soured.
Oh, God. Nasty milk is the fucking worst, man.
Wow, that was probably our best review yet. Hey guys, Aaron the Nerd Soup Monkey here with a brief shameless plug before we end the video. Do you ever feel like you don't have an adequate amount of nerd soup in your life? Like you're going to bed hungry and yearning for the nonsensical yet entertaining nutrients our podcasts provide? Well, we've come up with the perfect solution. The Nerd Soup Fan Question Podcasts, exclusively available to our Patreon supporters. You can sign up now by visiting patreon.com/nerdsoup, and for the price of only $1 per month, you'll receive exclusive access to our weekly podcast where we answer your questions that don't make it to the main show. And while you're there, you can check out the other rewards we offer to our patrons, like stickers, mugs, t-shirts, behind-the-scenes footage, and appearing in the credits at the end of our videos. And that's exactly what we're going to do right now. Roll the names of the nerds who make Nerd Soup possible. The reason why the crypto crash didn't send our lives spiraling down a black hole of no return. Alright, I'll stop talking so you can listen to this jazzy-ass music while checking if Bo spelt your name wrong in the credits.